From Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, I'm David Gavri, and this is the Vegas Faces podcast, where we talk with Las Vegas locals about what it's really like to live in the City of Lights. Whether you're living in Vegas, moving to Vegas, or just visiting Vegas and looking for new adventures, together let's discover the hidden gems that make Sin City the most visited place on earth. Hey everybody, welcome to Vegas Faces, where we talk to the people of Las Vegas about what it's really like to live in the entertainment capital of the world. I'm David Gavri, and I'm extremely excited about today's guest. Jacqueline Marchand is in studio today. She's a Las Vegas poker player, and she's playing in the World Series of Poker tournament events right here in Las Vegas. In fact, she plays tomorrow in the Ladies World Championship event. So by the time this episode is published, she will have won first place.
I wish.
Also, just to note, the World Series of Poker tournament extravaganza began on May 30th right here in Las Vegas, and it will go all the way until the end of July with the World Series of Poker main event starting on July 5th. I'm thrilled to be here today. Jacqueline, welcome to Vegas Faces.
Thank you so much, David. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. And I'm excited to talk poker with you today on the eve of the Ladies World Championship. There's like a tension in the air. You know, it's a long-standing tradition of the World Series of Poker, and over the years, it's grown into now it's like Ladies Week. I don't know if you knew that. There's like Ladies Week, and every single casino hosts a ladies tournament. You know, we had at Resorts World was on Monday, and MGM I think was on Sunday, and today was at Venetian, and there will be one I'm sure at Aria, and there'll be one at Golden Nugget. Like there's a bunch I think at South Point. So it turns into Ladies Week, and every single day there's different ladies tournaments that ladies compete in.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's still a little controversy with ladies poker.
Why? What do you mean?
I mean, really, poker is a sport that, you know, it's not like a physical sport like football where it matters if you're male or female. You know, you're sitting at a table, you should be able to play. So
mental sport, right? Yeah,
it's a mental sport. And there's a large school of people that feel like there shouldn't be ladies poker because there's no physicality involved, that it should be equal playing field with men and women. And ladies poker started out as like something for the wives to do while the men were playing. And then, but in the last 15 years, really, the ladies poker movement was smaller buy-ins to introduce women to the game, because a lot of women would not go and take a seat at a table full of men. It's too intimidating. So ladies poker started out as lower buy-ins. You know, in the last 15 years or so, I've been involved in several big different ladies organizations, but it was smaller buy-ins to get the ladies used to playing, teach them the game, a little bit more social, make it more fun.
Yeah.
And then as the ladies learned and grew and got more into it, they're able to compete, you know, at a world-class level. But so there's a school of thought that ladies poker should be eliminated, ladies only events.
That's not going to happen.
And there's been legal challenges to it as well and stuff. Like to play in the ladies event tomorrow, if you're a lady, it's $1,000. But if you're a man and want to enter that tournament, they can't stop you from entering it. But if you're a man and you want to enter the ladies championship, it's a $10,000 entry.
Oh, that's hilarious. Do people actually do that? Like,
there's every year a couple.
Like they're like doing it as a bet or something like that? Maybe like a prop bet?
Yeah, maybe. And a guy made the final table a few years ago and stuff. So there's always some controversy around ladies poker. That's
obnoxious though. Like who are these people that are just complaining about the ladies poker? Like what are they doing with their lives?
A lot of high profile professional poker players don't think that there should be ladies poker. I mean, I think Sean Deeb has spoken out about it.
But like, does it take away from their poker? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know. I think they just feel like there's not men's only poker, so why should there be ladies only poker? Something to complain about. So me personally, I've never won a ladies championship, and I've been playing poker for 15 years. So sometimes I'm like, why do I still play ladies poker? I've never won a ladies poker championship, but I want to. So I keep playing ladies poker. I actually perform better at a table with men. I can get away with a lot more. Ladies poker is very different than playing poker at a table that's predominantly men, because I think being a female at the table, they often think the men think you're not capable of bluffing. So when you bet out at a pot, they're going to fold because they're like, she wouldn't be betting with three spades out there unless she has the flush, you know. They don't think me capable of completely whiffing a bluff. But in ladies poker, you can bet it and somebody's going to call you. She's got one spade, she's going to call. It seems like the ladies draw a lot more. And so
do some of like the big female poker player names play in the ladies events? Like almost all of them do. Yeah. There's a few
big name females that won't play in the ladies anymore, but most of them do. I mean, I've played one year. I was at the table with Vanessa Selps, or Vanessa Russo plays, and Kristen Foxen. I mean, a lot of the big, the year that Jennifer Tilly won, she still plays it. It's like a tradition, and there's nothing more fun. And if you have time tomorrow, you should come down than watching 1,200 women walk into the ladies of poker, because, they say, I don't know if you've ever heard this saying, they say that men insult each other without really meaning it. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, bro, you look like shit today, right? But women compliment each other without really meaning it. Ooh. Like, oh, sweetheart, you look so nice, and then they're like, that dress is really tight on her, So but like, women notice what women are wearing more than men. So when you get a room of 1,200 women, like, everybody's dressed to the nines.
So it's all shit talking, but it's polite.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. But it's just exciting. There's an exciting pulse in the room. A few years ago.
But like, they have, sorry to cut you off, but they also have so many other events too. They have like the casino dealers events. They have like seniors events.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like, do people have a problem with those events, or are they just attacking the women's events?
The ladies events seem to have more controversy. Yeah, just the ladies events.
That's annoying. But I guess, hey, like they say, any press is good press, right?
Yeah, I think so. And this year there's more and more people here, and people come for the whole week, and they're playing ladies poker. I think it was, let me see, how many years ago? Maybe 8 years ago, I did a flash mob at the ladies poker championship. So we trained for like 3 months ahead. I did all the choreography.
Wow.
We did videos that we put on YouTube, and people from all over the world, ladies from all over the world, practiced. Wow. And then right before the shuffle up and deal, our music started playing, and we all got out of our seats into the main hallway of the World Series of Poker. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Wow. By the way, is this event on the Paris side or on the Horseshoe side?
I think it's going to be on the Paris side, because I have my seat already, and I'm on Paris white, so it's on the Paris side. Usually, all the feature tables are on the Horseshoe side, so they'll pick 10 people out at some point. Usually, maybe not till day 2. And go to the Paris side to a feature table. It's a 3-day event.
Yeah, and for those that are listening, the World Series of Poker is at Paris/Horseshoe, which used to be Bally's. So it's divided between both casinos, which are connected. You can access both. I recommend anyone who isn't even a poker player, doesn't even know anything about poker. We all have seen it on TV, whether you know it or not. Just to go in there, like the sound of the chips with the thousands of people that are in that room, or all the giant rooms, just the shuffling of the chips. Like it's a spectacle.
Yeah,
whether
it's
you're
intense.
playing or not, whether you're into poker or not, it's awesome. So I'm excited for you. How many people are anticipated to sign up for this event?
Every event this year at the World Series is having record-breaking numbers. Record-breaking. I played in the Mystery Bounty, and it was 18,000 players. My flight that I played in had over 8,000 players.
Wow.
And so that was the largest poker tournament ever. Bigger than the main, as far as entries and stuff, was 18,000. So most of the time, the ladies event is between 900 to 1,200 people. But based on the numbers that everything else is having, I'm going to call it more like 1,200 or more.
Wow. So going back to what you were saying, how like there are men who will pay 10 times as much just to enter. Have they ever won it? Like, that would be kind of weird, right?
They have not won it. They have the one final tabled one year. I think he got second or third or whatever. That's the most. There was a gentleman a few weeks ago that won a ladies event. I can't remember at what casino it was, but he did enter and he won.
Can people do that with the seniors event? Can you pay 10x?
You can't with the seniors.
Or if you're not a dealer, can you join the dealer event?
No.
So that's so wild that they do that.
But I guess legal challenge. It was about, oh gosh, I'm going to say probably 12 years ago. Like, it was Jose Canseco challenged it legally in California.
The baseball player?
Yes. He's a poker player too.
He's got a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, he challenged it. And so California made it that you couldn't prevent them. So when we used to do the ladies tournaments in California, you had to join a club, and then it was a private club event, and you had to pre-register and prepay before the day of the tournament.
Wow.
And to get around that. But here they just changed it. Like, ladies are discounted $9,000 and men have to pay full price.
Also, I think what people don't realize too is that the ratio of men to women in the poker world, like there's so many men in the poker world compared to women. So to have an event that gives them the opportunity to kind of just make a name for themselves when they go into the bigger pools, like there's just the ratio, like it's just not as much.
Yeah, it's 3 to 5% is ladies. Playing in an open event is 3 to, and in the main event it's usually 1 to 3%. So, and there's been a lot of different schools of thoughts as to why that is. And, women maybe don't have the bankroll or are not willing to put, a house payment down to play a tournament, things like that. But I was a founding ambassador for a group called Poker League of Nations that we started a few years ago. And it's worldwide. We have 10,000 members. It's a private Facebook group. But really the goal of Poker League of Nations is to help women play bigger, better poker. Even though we sponsor some ladies events and we have some ladies events, our true goal is to elevate women in the game so that they can play in the open events. We do funding, we do satellites, we do tournaments to help you win your entry. We pool money to sponsor people to put in. We have a charity arm as well that we do some charity to help one of our members in need when needed. But mostly our goal is to help women play bigger, better poker.
See, that's a positive thing. Why are people, I'm so annoyed. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. How do you feel the night before, or have you done this so many times where it's just like rinse and repeat? Do you have a routine? Do you have some type of ritual as far as getting both physically and mentally prepared for your tournaments?
Yeah, I do. I've worked on and off with a coach. So usually I try to have a little, if I'm working with a coach, which I just started working with a coach because I've had not a great year, a little touch base with the coach, kind of just, talk about some different things. There's definitely some trends happening at World Series this year that we can talk about in a minute, but try to just do a little touch base with a coach. I try to eat well the night before. I usually don't eat before a tournament. I eat really light because I don't want to have a rumbly stomach. Mm-hmm. Most of the time I would take a morning swim, but it's been so cool. My pool is not warm enough to take a morning swim right now without heating it. So I'll have to do something else. But when I was saying about trends at the World Series, like I've played at the World Series of Poker, I think since, I don't know, maybe 2007 or something. And that's part of why I moved to Vegas, was because I was coming out every summer to play in the World Series 3 and 4 weeks at a time. That, I started looking into moving here during the economy collapse in 2008, 2009. Every year you'd come to the World Series and it was some palpable trend. Like one year it was that all of a sudden everybody was raising 5x, 5 times the big blind versus the standard 3. Like that was like a thing. And then another year, it was all the Euros were raising big. And then like a couple years later, you go to play. And the best way to find out the trend is to play in one of the dailies. You're playing against 1,000 people and they're from all over the world. And then one year it was like raising 1.5 times the blind or min raising or, like 2.5. And it was like, where did this come from? We went from 5x to 3x. To, like it just, these trends happen, and then there was the big game theory optimal trend a few years ago and everything changes. So, but
are solvers still a popular thing that people use?
Solvers are popular, but they ruled them out this year. So you cannot be on your phone, have any action on your phone at all when you have a live hand, because there were people caught using solvers.
It also slows the game down too, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think people were really using solvers that much, but now that solvers is a thing for online play, like they just made a rule this year that solvers were not allowed. But what I found this year as the trend, I've played, just 2 events so far, but hearing from all of my friends that are playing a lot of events is that it's crazy right now. With the record-breaking numbers, there's so many recreational players playing, and I have an idea for why that might be, but like people are coming with deep pockets, multiple bullets to rebuy, re-enter, as much as they can. And so they're playing crazy. Like, wow. You always hear bad beat stories, but it's like, oh, I had aces and somebody had queens and they got a queen. But now it's like, that guy snapped me off with 3-6, and got the straight. Or like the worst hand I had this week was like somebody's raising with 6-9 and calling me down with 6-9 when I flopped to straight, and he rivered a bigger straight, but I'm like, how are you going all the way to the river with 6-9 offsuit? So
is the trend that people are just playing wild hands?
Crazy.
They're playing outside of the box poker.
Outside that, like,
I love that though. I like when because I come from the cash game world, and so like I like unconventional. I obviously read a bunch of poker books and I was like deep in it during my years in my 20s when I was like a serious cash game player, but also you'll notice that everybody plays like the books that they read or the YouTube videos that they watch and things like that. So then you start to say, well, okay, everyone's playing the same way. So maybe if I play outside the box, they'll never see it coming. So it sounds like this trend that you're talking about, or maybe mixed with all the recreational players that you just mentioned, which what is your theory as to why these are record-breaking numbers? Is it because of COVID and all the slow years following it?
I don't feel like it's COVID. I feel like people want a dream right now. People want, to all of a sudden go viral or to all of a sudden be an influencer, to have an easy money win. Like,
get rich quick.
Yeah. And I feel like, because you can't even say it's like the young people who want that, the people who are social media savvy. Because I played daily the day after the seniors, and there's, 1,000 white men over 60 I'm playing poker with. And, they want it too. And they're playing crazy and they're re-entering and they're, whatever. It's like, I feel like this appeal of like having a good time and the chance of making a big score. Yeah. It's just it's an appealing concept right now. And so people are just coming out and they're planning to have multiple bullets. They're playing a little reckless. It's just like a good time. And it's crazy. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers for the main event, the $10,000 entry, but I've heard that it's somewhere near 30 to 40% of the people who play the main event have never played it before. They've won their seat in either a league or a satellite, or they've pooled money, or, they play all year to compete in their local home games or casino games. And so you're almost playing with a lot of beginners in a world championship, because everybody wants that dream.
Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of good too, because it makes it exciting. Like Moneymaker, like he's the reason why me and people of my generation got into poker. I mean, it was exciting. This Joe Schmo from like Tennessee, he's an accountant
on a $30 satellite.
Yeah, he wins online, and then he gets his tournament seat, and then he beats out all the pros. Like, we love that story. Like, that's a fun. It makes the average regular person feel like I too can sit at the big table with all these players.
Yeah, and that's what's nice about poker. Like, you don't have to be an NBA player or a professional athlete, but yet you can compete on a global level with professionals. And
like, nobody for any amount of money can ever play on the basketball court with LeBron James.
Right.
But if you have the buy-in, you can play with Phil Ivey and Daniel Negreanu and Phil Hellmuth and all those guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's the one thing that is like, you can just sit there with like legends.
Exactly.
If you just have the bankroll.
Yeah. And I think this year you just see you can just feel like it's a different feeling this year.
Wow. I love that. How do you like that? Or do you kind of got you out of your comfort zone maybe?
I definitely need to adjust my game a little bit. I got caught off guard by some of the craziness, that ladies tournament that I mentioned before we started, where I said I didn't win a single hand all night. It was like crazy ass, This lady's like raising with Jack 4 offsuit and catching 3 4s, and when she turns her hand over finally, I'm like, you raised with Jack 4? She's like, but I won the hand. And I'm like, yeah, but you raised pre-flop with Jack 4 off.
Where do you think these rec players are coming from? Like, are they watching it? Like, what is the main poker media right now that people are watching to be like, ooh, I want to do that. I think I can win that. Is it YouTube?
Honestly, I don't know, because I don't have cable anymore. So I don't know. I remember she was telling me she has a home game and she does all these special things, and she does a home league. She lives in Dallas and all this stuff. And then next crazy hand that she played and won was like King 7 off, and she shows it to me. She's like, this is better than Jack 4. And I'm like, you can play that shit all day, lady. Go for it, But she was hitting everything. It was just like crazy.
It's fun, but I can also see how frustrating it can be for like serious poker pros that have hired coaches and read books and watched all kinds of training videos, and then they're like, wait, what? It's like you're playing at the 1-2 tables and you're like, what, these is just anything goes? Like, what happened? Like, I can't.
Yeah, one of my friends that's a pro that's here from out of town, I've seen his Facebook post. He's like, I'm raising with kings and jacks and queens, and I'm getting called by deuce 5, and they're catching the wheel, and I'm losing, and lost every tournament for 6 days, and it's just crazy town right now. So you have to adjust. You have to adjust your game, So you have to just come with, the whole thing of ranges and top 15% range of starting hands and 20%. It's out the window right now. It's just like crazy town.
Man, making me want to go play.
Yeah.
Because I coming from the cash world, I loved nothing more than to find a big tournament and then just play the cash games and wait for the people to bust out of the tournament. They're frustrated, they're angry, they're mad, they want to get their money back fast.
They're tilting,
and I'm just sitting there, just hanging out, waiting. It sounds like if I was to go there now to just hang out with these people that that think they know how to play.
People. Oh my God.
Wow. I want to get into cash versus tournament, because my opinion, I mean, again, I come from cash because I just wanted the flexibility to be able to get up whenever I want to get up. If I want to move tables, this guy's really annoying me, so let me switch seats, let me switch tables. Whereas tournament, it's a lot more strict. Like, you are stuck with that annoying person on your left or on your right, and you have to put up with them until you get moved.
That's why they make headphones.
Yeah. And like restroom breaks, like all of it is like, it's coordinated, it's scheduled. So how do you, and it's long days too, right? I mean, you could be playing 10, 12
hours, easy.
And then for no money yet. And then to have to come back and do the same thing again for a day 2 or even a day 3 before you get the money. So that's a grind in itself.
Yeah, I prefer tournaments to cash for a couple reasons. One, it's a finite investment. I know some people, like I said, come planning for multiple entries. I usually will just do one entry unless I get knocked out super early, had a bad beat, but I don't plan on multiple bullets. I want to have that finite investment. And the other appeal for me is that the potential prize of a big win, like even non-World Series season, I'll play like the Orleans Friday night. It's $120 or $150. And first prize is usually $6,000, $7,000.
Nice.
I couldn't go sit down with $100 at a cash game and have that kind of results. I'd be lucky to come away with a few $100s. So for me, it's the appeal is the set investment and the bigger potential of a bigger prize.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to put in the hours. And when I'm playing poker, I don't even notice the time go by. Like I don't notice that I've been sitting there for 6 hours.
Yeah. You're focused. You're in it. It's a meditative practice, really.
Yeah. It uses so many different parts of your brain, and me, I much prefer live poker to online poker because I like watching people. I like watching people. My degree is in clinical psychology from Stanford.
Yes.
I graduated from Stanford. So I think one of my strengths at poker is tells and reading people's tells. Ooh. And I have some great stories about tells and, making some big right decisions from tells. And I love watching people and finding their tells. And the other day I was playing with a really delightful girl and she had some terrible tells. And so I contacted her after and I was like, I want to talk to you about something, because you're really delightful to have at the table and all the men were enjoying having her there. But I was like, you have some really bad tells.
Did you ever read like the Joe Navarro,
of course,
the CIA guy, or even Zachary Elwood and his books and with poker tells?
I haven't read Zachary. I read Joe's years ago, but it's so beyond that now, I think. And some of the things that I noticed, are things that he never, he never brought up. Like I'll tell you one quick story. So in 2018, I went deep in the monster stack. So over 8,000 players and I came in 88th.
Wow.
For $10,000. I went to day 4. That's a 5-day tournament. And in day 2 or 3, I got seated at a table with a former main event champion, a super aggressive player. I won't say who it is because I'm about to tell you his tale. And he was just bowling over the table. He was raising 95% of the hands. Just raise every hand. So everybody's just folding. He's raising. He's taking the blinds. He's just raising. Very aggressive player. So I was like, shit. And I was sitting long ways across the table from him. And so I'm like, I got to figure this out. So I'm watching him. And on one rare occasion that somebody, went to showdown with him, and I was just watching as he's raising really aggressive. I noticed when he looked at his hand on that hand that when it went to showdown, he had pocket jacks, his eyes slightly flared. And I was like, ooh, when he looks at his hands, his eyes flare a little bit when he has a good hand versus he kind of scrunches them down and bets fast when he's bluffing, right? And stealing.
Even like how long they look at the cards. Like sometimes they just glance and they, fold it or they sit there and they're like, ooh. So I love that you're bringing up tells.
2 red aces real fast.
Right.
Yeah. But so I noticed his eyes flared. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on that. So if his eyes flare and I have at least a 20% range hand, I'm going to pop him back, re-raise. So I started raising him back. I was the only person at the table doing that, right? So I'd raise him back and 8 out of 10 times he'd fold. And he'd say, fuck, and he'd throw his cards and he'd fold. I don't know if we could say that on your show.
Say whatever you want.
Yeah. So he'd fold and, he was really angry. And I called the floor, do you have an F-bomb rule? They're like, no, not really. Unless he's saying like F you or whatever, but no, not really. And so I ended up taking off of his stack in the 5 hours I played with him, 165,000 in chips.
Wow.
Just by watching that little flare in his eyes.
I love that. I mean, that's why when Rounders came out, the scene where the guy with the Oreo, John Malkovich twisting the Oreo, like that's such a we people who play poker and people who don't play poker, they romanticize with that like, ooh, I'm just going to look at them and I'm going to see their soul. I'm going to figure out exactly what they have. And it's like, maybe it's part of that whole like get rich quick, the like Joe Schmo can do it too type of thing. But like, it's so fun to actually see someone like in real time actually having a tell and utilizing it to your advantage. Like, what I find amazing about the game of poker is that I see people trying to figure it out with these solvers and all these like robotic computer programs and trying to make it like chess. How can we figure it out? But like on any given day, you don't know anyone's emotional state that day. You don't know what they went through that day. You don't know how they're going to operate. In a vacuum on a computer program, yes, this hand will win versus that hand. But you're totally discounting the person's personality, their emotional state that day, or even just the hand.
How many rebuys in their pocket?
Yeah, or like something happened 2 hands ago. Now they're either pissed off or they're really happy because they won and they're on the winner's tilt type of thing. So that alone is why I too like live poker versus online poker. Nothing against online poker. I think it's just a completely different game with a different strategy. You've got to have all the software in play. Like it's just a different thing that I never really got into. Kudos to those who did. They made a lot of money, but I like the social interaction. I like just being able to talk to people and then maybe see if I can get some information out of them. I always found it fun when people would wear sunglasses and it's like they think they're protected because they're wearing sunglasses, but it's like you can still look at their hands, you can still look at their neck, the pulsing,
their lips,
neck,
all that,
yeah. So it's like, okay, guy who has sunglasses, you might feel safe, but we all know.
Yeah, but what's funny with tells is you have to watch the person long enough to realize what is the tell. Like just because somebody's breathing hard doesn't mean they're bluffing. Some people breathe hard when they've got the nuts, and they're like, "How can I maximize this hand?" You know, so you have to see them go to showdown on a few hands and be able to determine what did that action of that non-intentional body function that they did, what did that mean to the hand? You know, and then of course you have at the highest echelons, those people might do false reverse tells, like, you know, try to make you think that, you know, like they breathed hard on this, you know, it's crazy.
Because they know what the tells are. And now they're actors now. But then sometimes, you know, we see those on ESPN a lot too when they fake it and they're like, oh, this guy's Hollywooding. Like you should get an Academy Award for his fake tells that he's. So that part gets fun too. Yeah. And there's so many levels to this game that's why to me, I love playing poker, whether I play it seriously or professionally or just casually for fun. Like I don't think it'll ever be figured out. I think there's just too many components.
Too many variables. But that's what makes it exciting because there's position, there's range, there's betting, there's sizing, there's tells, there's the personality thing going on. There's just so many things that are happening at the table. Like people go, oh, it looks so boring. But I'm like, oh, it's like invigorating. It's crazy.
Like is this player a serious by the book player or are they secretly a gambling degenerate? Like, like so many factors that change the way someone plays. So
yeah, really fun.
I'm ready to go play.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you only play tournaments at the World Series or do you sometimes dabble in a cash game here and there?
I don't usually pay cash. Every now and then I'll pay cash mixed games like Omaha or something like that. I won't play cash like 1-3 no limit or whatever. I mostly play tournament. And right now I'm only playing like once a month. And so usually a daily, like either at the Aria or at Orleans or something like that. And then play, you know, this is probably the most amount that I'll play is during the World Series. And even then I worked yesterday and today I didn't play. There was ladies events. I'm like, oh, I'm not playing.
The tournament poker scene gets intense. Like there's like sponsorships and backers and investors and like how high do you want to go and how far do you want to take it? Or do you just kind of like dabbling in this tournament, that tournament, and then if I hit a big score, great, we'll just keep going that way?
I've done a little bit of all of that. I mean, for me, it's still, I mean, I call it semi-pro because I try to make some extra money each year, but I don't play it as a living or as a primary source of income. I have had sponsors before. I have had investors before. I have been staked before, but I found, you know, the last few years, I just have my budget. Like, you know, I set my budget. My husband was asking me at dinner. In fact, he's like, don't you feel bad that you haven't won very much this week? And I was like,
oh no.
I was like, no. I said, I set my budget of what I was willing to spend for World Series this year. And I haven't gone over my budget. And if it happens, great, you know, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, you know.
Yeah. The tournament grind is tough. I mean, you can go a long time before you hit anything.
Yeah. And the people who you see winning big, record breaking, you're high on the Hendon Mob, you know, the ones who are honest with you will tell you that it's a huge investment. So it is a numbers game. So the people that you see winning at the highest levels, they're playing every day and they're playing tournaments every day and they have investors and they have, you know, I mean, I don't know how anybody played that $250,000 entry tournament the other day. Like, who puts up that kind of money to play, you know? And those are usually definitely investment groups and stuff. And I'm part of an investment group called the Minions, and we sell shares for $200. And for every $10,000 that we raise, we put somebody in, and the team captain picks the player. So I've played for them twice. I got picked a few years ago to play for them in the main event twice. So normally we put anywhere from 4 to 10 people in the main event.
Oh, wow.
And the player usually buys shares to maybe, they'll put in 600 or 1,000 or 2,000 of the whole pool. And the investors, as we call the people who bought the $200 shares, get 65% of their winnings of the main event, and the player gets 35%. It's a super crazy percentage, but that's a person who never in a million years would have $10,000 to play the main event. So they're happy to be playing for 35% of themselves.
Wow.
And the investors.
Just for the experience even.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and are you happy that the main event is still just one buy-in? I mean, do you like rebuy tournaments?
I personally don't like rebuy tournaments. I know a lot of people do because it increases the prize pool.
The casino likes it because they can take a bigger cut. But there was that infamous story of Daniel Negreanu bought in for 40 times or something crazy like that. Like literally, I mean, maybe not that.
It was $1,000 entry. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But he bought in an insane amount of times, rebuy, and that you don't see all the times that he bought in and lost. Right. And then, you only hear about the time that he won, and you see on paper, oh, this guy won 6 or 7 figures prize, but is he still in the green after all those rebuys?
I don't know.
You don't hear about that part. So
I'm assuming he is. He has a really nice house, I heard, but it's you don't see all of it. So I'm definitely at a much lower level than that. I have my little budget, and
and then you have the tournament players who play the World Series of Poker circuit. Meaning, for the people listening, you've got the World Series of Poker here in Las Vegas during the summertime, but then after that, the World Series of Poker then goes to another city, and then another city the next month, and on and on and on, all throughout the year. So these people are now traveling, playing tournament poker. So not only are they playing, they're spending money on the buy-in, but they also have to pay travel expenses and food and all that. It adds up quick. So players like Hellmuth and Negreanu that have these social media followings and these big brand names, they're able to get people to stake and invest and for a small percentage and things like that. But for us, we're on our own, I guess, until we hit a big score. I mean,
people always invite me to travel on poker trips, and I'm always like, I have all the poker I want in the world right here in Las Vegas. Why would I want to travel? When I travel, I want to go fishing and I want to do other things.
You don't want to be playing poker in Las Vegas, being a poker player in Las Vegas. Where do you like to play? Do you pick based on what the tournament is, or do you pick based on the poker room?
I pick based on value. Okay. So because we were saying, tournaments take a long time, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever. I don't want to go play a tournament with 3 or 4 tables, right? I want to play a tournament with at least 100 people, 200 people. 200 people is about my sweet spot to play and have the best results at that level. So I like to play in the local dailies, or when they have a series, like when Aria or Orleans has a series and they're doing a little bit bigger guarantees and stuff, and you get 200 to 400 players per event. So I like that. I don't really have a favorite. The best value tournaments I feel are either at Orleans or Aria or Venetian. The ones at the Wynn or Bellagio, the buy-ins are a little above my bankroll. So that's kind of what I look for.
When you're playing tournaments with a minimum 100 to 300 or however many 100 players, is that you're signing up for a 10-hour day?
At least, yeah.
At least, if not a day 2 or even a day 3.
Most of the dailies and the little series that are non-World Series time are one day events, yeah. But I used to, when I first moved here, I always played the Friday night at Orleans, which was 250 players, but you start at 7 p.m. after you've worked a 40-hour work week, and you're going to play till 6 or 7 in the morning to final table, to win. So I did all the time, but then I got too I'm too tired to play all night on a Friday night after working all week. So I stopped playing it for a long time. And now I play it, maybe every couple months or something. But I still feel that's the best value tournament.
At the Orleans?
On Friday night, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I don't know. But it seems like a fun time. It seems like, especially with the right people, I'm sure you can't choose who you sit with and who you play with. But I don't know, depending on the night, I guess.
I mean, that room is definitely not very luxurious. I really like playing at Resorts World now. It's very luxurious, great chairs, great dealers, great ambiance, but it's a smaller tournament. It's a 160 but you've got 4 or 5 tables. The good news is you're going to be done at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. But if you want to be done faster, go for the smaller ones. But if you want more value, meaning like if you buy it for $100 and you can win 5,000, you go for the ones at the Orleans.
Exactly.
Or wherever
bigger field, a little bit bigger field, Some of the more luxurious ones, like even Aria on a non-series, they only have, 5, 6, 7 tournament tables. So if I think I got first place at Aria for 3,000 or 4,000 or whatever. So the smaller ones are, smaller prize pool, but you get done at a reasonable hour.
Does Bellagio have good tournaments, or is that just a cash game? Because I know a lot of cash players love Bellagio.
I honestly don't know. I believe they have a 5 o'clock every night, and I know that Wynn just added, I think, a 5 or 6 p.m. every night with a 10,000 guarantee. I have not played that yet.
So for like an average recreational player who wants to play more tournaments, what resources are you using to find where all these tournaments are?
Poker Atlas is an app, and you go on Poker Atlas and it'll tell you cash games, it'll tell you tournaments, it'll tell you series tournaments all around the country, what time the buy-in, you can get the structure, everything on Poker Atlas.
Okay. At this point, going into the tournament tomorrow, what does your morning look like? Let's talk poker morning routine leading into the ladies championship event.
Mostly I just want to be comfortable. I want to look good. I've already, done my little mental preparation as far as strategy. Like I told you, I've been running bad a little bit. So I'm mostly prepared, like if it doesn't go my way, not to get bent out of shape. Just enjoy the time, see my friends, get lots of hugs and kisses, enjoy the day, look at, everybody's cute outfits and stuff. I did mermaid theme this year. I did my little mermaid hair tips, and I got a cute little mermaid t-shirt to wear tomorrow, and just enjoy the experience. It's the World Series of Poker, and in the morning, light breakfast, feed the dog. Nothing special. I'll take care of a few work things since I'll be out of touch for the day. And I don't get too crazy on preparation. Just try to enjoy the experience.
Do you like to listen to music and have headphones while you play?
For the ladies' events, I don't usually, because, I'm a global ambassador for Plan, so everybody's always talking to me, want to take pictures. It's very, very social, so it would not be probably appropriate for me to wear. When I play in open fields with men, and they start talking sports or something annoying, I will put my headphones on. But usually for the ladies' events, I don't.
And so when you play events like these in the World Series, does it mean that on any given day, at any moment, you could be picked to be at that table that will be on ESPN or
the
things
feature
like that?
table? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of randomly go through the...
So kind of be careful how you dress that day, because you never know, you might be... You just roll out of bed
I've never been on the feature table, but, they pick some recognizable faces, of course, first. So, they don't pick too many unknowns, but you never know.
Okay, so at the time of this recording, we have the Ladies Championship event, and you're anticipating this to be a multi-day event.
It's 3 days. Mm-hmm.
3 days. Okay, so if we can get this edited by... But yeah, do you ever think about what will happen, or is it just in the moment, or do you think of oh wow, this will be amazing if I make the final table, and oh how cool it would be if I won this tournament? I
just try to get through one level at a time. I have little goals per level as far as where I want my chip stack to be. I try to win one hand per orbit at least, just otherwise you're chipping down, which I've definitely done when I'm super card dead. And, just try to make it through. The deepest I've gone in the ladies was, I think, in 2015. I went out 31st out of 1,200 for I think it was a $4,000 cash. It was in towards the end of day 2. You already got your media card and they know your name and you're reporting your hands. And I had a huge hand, 8-way all in, and I had kings, and I knew somebody in the 8-way all in has aces, right? I knew without a shadow of a doubt. I was just hoping it was not the girl with a stack about the same size as mine, right? Because I had 130,000 and she had maybe a little less, and all the other stacks were 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, small, 50,000 maybe, but I'm if I can spike a king against whoever's got aces, I will end this hand with 650,000, and I go all the way for first place. So I'm, I was I'm doing it, and of course the person with the aces was the one who had almost the same amount of chips as me. So when I didn't spike my king, and nobody else had a king of the people all in, so, but God. I didn't spike the king, and then I was crippled down to 20,000 after that hand. I lost, 110,000 chips.
Oh wow!
In one hand, but
and that's how it goes.
I went for it. Yeah, I went for it. I was
it's cash tournament, whatever. Poker can be amazing, but it can also be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite hand?
Jack 9.
Yeah. Okay. Why is that?
Jacqueline for Jack, and I was born on the 9th, and and 9th is what is it, like a derivative of 3? Like we were talking, we were like 3.
Lucky number.
Three threes.
My lucky number too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Jack 9 suited preferably. But
it's a great hand too. You can hit like a sneaky straight. Nobody can see it if not too many high cards come out. And
what's your favorite hand?
Okay, so when I was growing up, learning how to play poker in my teens, for whatever weird reason, talking about playing outside the box, and I still didn't know how to play just yet, but I noticed everyone was playing kind of the same way, and I was like, okay, well, I can't win if I play like them. I'll have to do something different. So I would play the worst hand, 3-8 offsuit.
Oh God!
And for some reason, it would always flop like 3 3s or like 2 pair or like trip 8s or something, or a flush, something wacky, to where like in my hometown amongst my high school friends, like that was like my hand. Now, do I play that like that now? Like if I'm going to play a World Series event, or if I'm going to play a cash game, like hell no. But
people are playing that this week. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I do like
stuff like that.
Yeah, I like to. I mean, again, it's player dependent. Like which player can I raise with a hand like 3-8 and maybe get away with it, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, as a teenager playing as a goof with your buddies and drinking beer in high school, kind of thing, like they would just be like, the freaking 3-8 again, like.
Well, it was like Doyle Brunson 10-2. It was like kind of just a crazy hand. So yeah.
Jacqueline, before we wrap this up, what are some links for social? How can people find you and find your work? Also, you have a book out. Start plugging.
Let's do poker first. So our ladies poker group is Poker League of Nations. It's a private Facebook group, so you do have to be a lady. You do have to request to join. So I think when you look on Facebook, you have to look for members only Poker League of Nations, because we have a public page, Poker League of Nations, but members only Poker League of Nations is our private Facebook group with over 10,000 women. And we have a few media people in there and industry professionals. And then me personally, my Instagram is Jack Mermaid. I have a little bit of a mermaid hobby. So that's my Instagram. It's all clean and legit. There's no, side boob pictures or anything on there. Although I did get an offer this week for a sugar daddy. He said he'd pay me $800 a week if I would just share pictures with him privately. I was like, whoa. I've talked to my husband about that.
Just have him pay your tournament entries.
And my novel is called Coasters. It's published under my maiden name because I was married at the time to a different husband when I wrote it. So it's Coasters by Jacqueline Britton, and it's on Amazon and Audible audiobooks. And it was a finalist for Women's Fiction Book of the Year in 2018. It's a beautiful love triangle set in the fashion world, because most of my career was in fashion, and a little mermaid fantasy thrown in. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. I'm trying to get it made into a screenplay and a movie.
Amazing.
Got a couple of producers interested. I'm not very good at the screenplay writing genre, so I'm looking for a writing partner. I had one, and then he bailed on me. So at the moment, I'm in the trying to find a screenplay writing partner on my book.
Wow. Okay. Do you think you'll ever write another book after all that?
Oh, absolutely. I have another one all written in my head. I just need the time to write it. Second book will be called Personal Injury.
Wow. Do you write just like on a journaling and things like that on a daily, weekly basis?
Not so much. I wrote a lot in college. I took a lot of creative writing. I went to Stanford. I'm a good writer, I think. Maybe my sentences ramble on a little like my talking does, but I'm a good storyteller, I think. So
it's cool that you have a book out that's like completely separate from poker. Like I remember playing poker events and seeing poker players who wrote poker books, and I'm like, okay, it's just poker. So it's like you have your poker outlet over here, but you also have your creative writing outlet over there, as well as your balanced family life and work life and everything like that.
Yeah, 7 dogs and crazy town at home and a cat. So yeah, definitely a fun and interesting life. I feel very blessed, and that's why when somebody says, "Oh, do you get upset that you lost your poker tournament?" It's like I have a good life. I have no complaints.
That's the way to do it. Isn't that what they always say? Like just only play with what you can lose.
Yeah. For sure. And then it's gravy when you win,
Yes, it is. Jacqueline, where are you going to celebrate after you win the Ladies Championship tournament?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I haven't thought that far. I don't want to jinx myself thinking that far ahead.
Fair enough. Well, I'm really excited for you.
Thank
and
you.
I hope all the best. I won't even say good luck, because I know you're a skilled, wonderful player. So just go out there and do your best.
It does take some luck to win these days.
Unfortunately,
for sure.
it does.
Yeah.
And even when players were playing regularly, it's and that too is why people they try to figure this game out. But there's the luck factor. So
yeah, absolutely.
But hey, I think that all this run bad that you're talking about, it's going to turn around. It has to.
I hope
at one point, and why not? So I send you good vibes.
Thank you.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
And now you're making me want to go down there and go check it out. So I learned a lot from you today.
Thank you. I enjoyed spending the time with you too. Thank you.
Can't thank you enough for coming here. Go get them.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for subscribing to Vegas Faces on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok under the name Gavri Group. That's Gavri Group. Thanks, everybody. See you at the next episode.